Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Sam, and this week I have another reading vlog for you all. I've been very inspired recently for a bunch of reading vlogs that I want to do, so you get to this month, and hopefully I can get these to be more consistent as long as I can keep up with these ideas and make them fit into my monthly reads. This week's reading vlog is another installment of finishing every series that I'm in the middle of. If you watched my video from a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago at this point, where I talked about every single series that I was in the middle of. I'm in the middle of 43 series, which is far too many. And my October TBR is lending itself to allow me to finish a few series this month. So, what better time to film another one of these videos? I have a couple series in mind, some series that I'm almost finished, and series with shorter books. But the first book that I'm going to be starting with this week is Magnolia Parks Into the Dark. This is a chunky book. She's over 700 pages. I was able to start the first 30 pages of this book yesterday, and I'm very excited to continue, although this is already way more painful than I anticipated. After the events of Magnolia Park's Long Way Home, I didn't know what Jessa was going to do to these characters, but this was not it. And I was already crying within chapter 1, and I haven't actually cried, like tears falling down my face to a book, in a long time. I get misty-eyed, my eyes are like watery, but not like this. I might have shed a tear or two in the other Magnolia Parks books, but I still have like 700 pages of this book. I'm terrified now. I'm hoping to get a good chunk of this book read today and tomorrow, and then I might have to put it down for a day or two because I will not read this when I'm in the office. So this might be a slower book for me to get through. I don't necessarily want to put it down and have to pick it up sporadically, but with the size and the emotional trauma that this is gonna put me through, we might have to take our time. Send good thoughts. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. So it's been almost a week since I have checked in with this reading vlog. I ended up not feeling very well last week, so let's chat about what I was reading. First, I am in the middle of Magnolia Parks Into the Dark. I didn't want to take this to the office with me because this book is a brick and it's just really difficult to read. So I ended up making it 234 pages into this book beginning of the week last week, and I was hoping to read some over the weekend, but ended up not reading a single page of anything over the weekend, so hoping to jump back into this today. This book hurts, but there's also a lot of growth happening. It's really difficult to talk about, obviously, without giving any spoilers. This is a series that I absolutely love with my whole heart, and I love all of these characters, and it just feels like such a real story. Like, this is obviously, they are very wealthy, so you can't relate on that front, but a lot of the situations that they find themselves in are very real, and the things they have to go through, and the mental health and hurdles that they're overcoming to get their like personal growth, it's all very relatable. But I can't like recommend everybody go read it. It's definitely not going to be for everyone, but just the way that this is written feels like you are right in the character's head. It's like really reads like a stream of consciousness. Like, this is how Magnolia is thinking, or BJ is thinking, in their respective chapters. And it feels like not necessarily the content of things that they're thinking about, but the way that the thoughts are strung together feels like Jessa just like cracked open my skull and took a peek inside. But because of the content in this book, I or this series overall, I cannot in good conscience recommend people read it. But if you are interested in this series and have been contemplating picking it up, and if you have triggers, check the trigger warnings. But going into the series blind, obviously it's going to hit you harder not knowing what's coming. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about this. I'm going to try and read a bunch more tonight if I can. Then the second book that I ended up starting last week while I was at work so that I could just read on my Kindle on lunch was Air by Katie Robert. This is book 2 in the Bloodline Vampire series. This is a trilogy of novellas that I started last year. We are following Mina, who is half human, half vampire, I believe. She doesn't have any powers, and her father just gave her to another vampire, like one of the original bloodlines of vampires, just to procreate and continue the bloodline. And so we're picking up pretty soon after the events of the first book. There was definitely some things that I forgot about, but overall it's not a very difficult series. I think I'm about halfway through with that second book, and it's only about 150 pages. So again, I'm hoping to finish that today on my lunch. And then the third book that I started, and actually wasn't originally going to be in this reading vlog, but then realized that it's a continuation of a series. So I'm reading Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. This is book 2 in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. So I'm listening to this on audio. I have like 6 hours left of my allotted hours left for the month, and this is a just over 7-hour audiobook. I just listen to all my audiobooks at 1x speed right now as a still sort of an audiobook newbie, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. I really like the premise of this one. In this one, we're following Wes and Ada. Wes is the brother to Emmy from book 1, and he's like the head of this project that they're doing at the ranch to have, I guess, like make an inn with the old big house on the ranch. So they're trying to renovate it and do it up, and Ada is hired as the designer. And on her first night in Meadowlark, it's called Meadowlark, she ends up going to the bar where she runs into Wes, and they end up making out, but neither of them know who the other is. And obviously they run into each other at the job site the next day, and we're kind of going from there. I really enjoy, there's sort of a piece of mental health in this book, which the sun is coming in all strange directions this morning. There's a little piece of mental health in this book, and there was also in book 1, and I'm interested to see how that plays into the rest of the book, but it's kind of only been mentioned once so far. But I'm like giggling and smiling the whole time I'm listening to it, so I'm very much enjoying it so far. There's also a huge section of this book where Wes is teaching Ada how to drive a stick shift, drive manual, and tell me why all of a sudden I want to learn how to drive a stick shift. Never had any interest before, but that is all of the updates for today. For right now, I'll check in with you guys later on. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I didn't end up reading as much yesterday as I thought I was going to, but I ended up doing some editing and catching up on some reviews. Just ended up being a little bit of a busy evening. However, I do have some book updates to share with you. I did end up finishing Air yesterday by Katie Robert. Normally I would hold it up, but my Kindle is in my purse. It was fine. It was a solid 3-star for me. I kind of feel like I'm just reading this series just to finish this series. Like, I was definitely excited to get this book on my October TBR and get back into it. It's just nothing really special. The second book also, without giving much away, the like smut definitely rivals the plot. The plot in this, honestly, series overall is not very complex or layered. They're basically just trying to overthrow her father, who is the head of one of the other bloodline families, who is like trying to control all of the other bloodline families and just the vampires in general. We found out in book one that he is really horrible to Mina, and Mina had a really difficult upbringing, being that she is half human, half vampire, doesn't have any powers, and was just used as like a blood bag and a plaything for the vampires, and obviously now was sent off to this one bloodline vampire for the sole purpose of procreating. So it's just nothing like super exciting. These books are also all just novellas, so that also plays into being more difficult to have like a fully fledged out story again. But yes, book two is definitely more of smut heavy, which it was fine. I just wasn't very invested in the story or any of our characters. I also feel like I can't picture any of the characters. When I was reading yesterday, there was a description of one of the characters, and I was like, a white mohawk? Since when did this guy have a white mohawk? It's fine, they're quick reads, but it's definitely nothing special or anything that I'm going to think about long term. So once I did finish Air, I did end up starting book 3 yesterday, which is Queen. This is the third and final book in the series. This is definitely more plot heavy based on what happened at the end of book 2. So that's interesting. There's some questions that we need to get answered and trying to get out of like a sticky situation sort of vibe. But at the same time, like nothing, like with how short this book is, I feel like it's also going very slow. Like we're not figuring anything out or learning anything. I still have like 100 pages left in this one, so I'm hoping it doesn't take me too long to read. But like I said, like these books, even though they are short, they take a bit to get through. But yeah, it's fine. It's just, it is what it is. It's a book. It's nothing special, but I am enjoying reading it, I think. I did also listen to a bit more of Swift and Saddled yesterday on my drive home, and I don't really have much else to say. I really like the friendships and family peaks that we're getting in both the female and male POVs. I think it's really nice to have those like bonding moments for both groups of characters, and I feel like in most small town romance interconnected series we get a lot more of that friendship and family connection in like larger groups in the females chapters, but we definitely got some of that in the males chapters as well, and it was just so cute. I'm just smiling and giggling the whole time I'm listening to this. I'm having a great time, and I'm a little bit conflicted on some of my opinions. I feel like the pacing is maybe a little strange, some of the interactions that our characters have. I'm like why are you doing it like that? But at the same time, I'm having so much fun, and I'm very excited to have my drive home tonight so I can listen to it. But that is all my updates for right now. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. The last 2 days did not go as planned. I have been dealing with some car things, which has been very stressful, but I'm fine. My car is now fine. So trying to get myself back in order, back together, do all the things. Some book updates for you. I did end up finishing Queen by Katie Robert. I think it's another 3-star read for me. It was fine. I definitely feel like I was just reading it just to finish it and finish the series. I definitely didn't dislike it, and by the end, it ties into another one of her series. It ties into her like monster romance series, the Deal with the Demon series, and that definitely made me interested to read those, which are also, I think, all pretty short. I don't know if they're all novellas, but I did check the first one is only like 180 pages, so I might pick those ones up at some point, but there are like 6 books in that series, and I don't think it's finished. So, in this third book, we definitely had more plot. There was more things happening, but I really didn't like our main character in this one. Like, things were happening, and she was saying that they had to figure stuff out, but she also wasn't doing anything about it. Like, I feel like we just got the same conversations over and over again, and this is only 150 pages. You have to get stuff moving. There's not a lot of time to expand the story. So, unfortunately, I don't have much to say about that book or that series overall. It was fun, like classic wide choose vampire romance situation. Very short read, so if you do need something to try to catch up on your Goodreads challenge or your reading goal, it's only 3 very short novellas, so definitely be quick to get through. It was fine. I'm glad I read them and I can check another series off my list and actually check it off. That's a completed trilogy. Then I ended up reading a bit more Magnolia Parks last night. It's been a few days since I have picked up this book just because of circumstance. I definitely want to try to finish this book in the next 2 days, hopefully. That's definitely a big ask. I still have just over 400 pages left, and 200 pages a day for me is pushing it a little bit. I usually have very, very tired eyes if I do that for too many days in a row, but I do want to try to finish this. I don't want to rush through it, but at the same time, I don't want to drag it out any longer because I have been reading this since November 30th, and we are like a third of the way through October now. Definitely need to get this finished. I don't really have anything else to say about this book, but I'm just going to get reading. I am wearing my Magnolia Parks merch today, which felt very fitting. I feel like every time that I am picking up this book to film some B-roll, I'm never reading a part that is completely gut-wrenching to me, but I have found but I'm in the middle of this scene and I find it really hard to describe my feelings about this book, this whole series, because a lot of the day-to-day things that happen that the characters go and experience are not things that I can relate to, but the emotional things that they're feeling and experiencing, the things that happen in these books are mostly large and frequent. And for obviously generalizing, the majority of people are not going to experience these events, maybe at all, or in the quantity that are in these books. So it hurts a lot more having these painful experiences being thrown at you over and over again. But the way that the characters are reacting and experiencing these things and events are so real. And the way that Jessa writes these books, her writing is nothing that I've ever read before. The way that she can write a stream of consciousness that just like feels like she just cracked somebody's head open and took a peek inside, it's very relatable. And how when you have anxiety or you are experiencing emotional trauma, your thoughts just spiral. And reading Magnolia, especially in this book, I was just rewatching the like first half of Rachel Catherine's reading vlog of this book because I just want to talk to other people about it and experience other people's opinions on it. Like I have a couple reading vlogs and podcast episodes that I want to listen to, but I don't want to listen until after because I don't know what they're necessarily going to talk about. Like a lot of things that Rachel says in her video are like the same things that I'm feeling and experiencing as I'm reading this. These characters go through so much, and so much of this book is bad things happening to these characters. Like these characters are going through horrible situations, but there are moments of hope and moments where good things are happening to them and their friends, and you want to root for that. But in the next second, Jessa just comes and punches you right in the heart with some other bad thing. And after so long, you just want the best for these characters. And I'm terrified for how it's going to end. Jessa doesn't follow a formula. She doesn't, like, these are not romance books. I don't know what I would necessarily consider them. It's very much slice of life and what these characters are going through. Obviously, there is plot, there is things going on, but these books hurt. And just, I feel like a shell reading these books because it's hard to experience all of these emotions all at the same time. Obviously, knowing both POVs and the situations of what actually happened and getting the repercussions from other characters' point of view, it hurts so bad. That's all I came to say. And also to read the rest of this chapter together. Finally. But it still hurts. Well, I wanted reactions in this reading vlog, and hello everybody, happy Friday. If I look a little bedraggled, it's because I finished Magnolia Parks and sobbed my way through the last 100 pages or so. I'm not going to talk too much more about my thoughts on this book because I feel like I have just chatted all of my thoughts already, but this was 5 stars. This is beautiful. The personal journeys that both Magnolia and BJ, specifically Magnolia, goes on in this book, it's just so beautiful. I absolutely love this book, absolutely love these characters. I'm doing quite terribly. I need the next Daisy Hates book immediately. I need to know what was going on with the other cast of characters at the same time as this one, but Jess is just really unbelievable. Like, the way that she writes is nothing that I've ever written before, and I feel like a lot of the times this year I'm gonna start crying again, and for what? A lot of books have come into my life at the perfect time this year, and I think this is one of them. It just leans into a lot of things that I have been thinking about and dealing with, and just like anxiety in general and how that like plays in. 5 stars. 6 stars? I feel like this is turned into just a Magnolia Parks Into the Dark vlog, so oops. I think I've decided that I'm going to just finish off Swift and Saddled, and I'll give my full thoughts on that the beginning of next week so I can wrap up this video. But I'm going to call it there. I did want to put one more book in this video, but I think it's plenty long enough. I'll do the whole wrap up after I finish this audiobook, but that's it for now. Good morning, everybody. It's been a few days, but I just wanted to really quickly wrap up this video. I did end up finishing Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage on audio, and I think I'm settling on a 3.5 stars. I had a really fun time listening to this book. Is that a bit better? I feel really washed out today. I really enjoyed this audiobook. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I think the narrators overall did a good job. There was some like pacing issues that I thought was kind of weird. And there were some parts that the female narrator was fully whispering, which I hate when narrators do that because I can't tell what you're saying. Overall, I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was really cute, but I did feel like it was a bit surface level. I wanted a bit more, especially with the mental health component that was mentioned. And I kind of felt like the conflict was kind of weird. I don't know. I just wanted a little bit more character development. But overall, I had a great time and I'm very excited for the next book to come out. I've heard very good things. But I had a very good reading week. Finished a few different series, or at least caught up on a few different series. That is everything for this video. If you did enjoy, please give it a like so that I know. I really hope that you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.